Good afternoon, Mr. Ramirez.
Good afternoon.
Uh, Mr. Ramirez, how old are you?
26.
Okay. Tell us about your upbringing. Where do you currently live?
I live in Chicago and I grew up in Chicago all my life.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes. Wife Marie.
Okay. And going to the night of December 7th, 1996. Can you tell us what you were doing on that particular day?
It was a Friday night, actually December 6th, I'm sorry. And after work, a couple of my friends, two of my friends, Joe and Lewis, we decided to watch a basketball game at Joe's house.
And where do you know Joe and Lewis from?
They're childhood friends. Lewis used to be my coworker.
Okay. And what kind of work do you do?
Carpenter, sheetrock.
Okay. Do you know Joe and Lewis from outside of work?
Yeah, we also play. We're in a softball league. We play a lot of softball, and several other sports. I used to be a boxer too, so.
Okay, and you know them from sports such as boxing and
Yeah, softball league.
softball. When you were a boxer, well, are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm left-handed. Sorry.
Left-handed. So you were southpaw.
Correct.
Okay, and what position do you play in softball?
First base.
Okay, do you wear your glove on your left hand or your right hand?
Right hand.
All right. Continuing with December 6th at the basketball game that you guys were watching, what were you drinking?
I brought a 6-pack of beers and we shared it. I had a couple.
Okay. And what happened after that?
The game ended and then we decided to play some cards at Joe's house. We played some cards and then afterwards we went out to a bar to have a couple of drinks.
Did you continue drinking at that bar?
Yeah, we had scotch and water.
All right. And then what happened next? What happened after the bar?
After that bar, we decided to go to another bar and just have a good time with good friends. Like I said, childhood friends, and just have a couple more drinks, scotch and water.
And how did the outing conclude with your friends?
After the second bar, we decided to head on out. On the way home, we stopped by the park where we usually play softball in the league, and we got into a little debate about who's the fastest, and we decided to have a 50-yard dash, and so we raced.
Okay, all right. And is that how the night concluded with your friends?
I'm sorry?
Is that how the night concluded, basically, with your friends?
Well, afterwards, after racing, we decided to, and then we went home. I think Joe was driving, and he dropped me off at my car, and then I got into my car and started driving home.
Okay. What happened on your drive home?
On the way home, I was driving, taking my time to get home to make sure it's safe. Came up to this car that was driving really slow, and about 5-10 miles per hour in my way, and normally on that street you would want to go a little faster than 5-10 miles per hour. So I came up behind them slowly and started honking so I can pass them. Afterwards they would ignore me, so I tried to pass them from the left. Then he swerved in front of me to block me, so I figured, okay. So I started honking again, and I tried to pass him again on the left, and he swerved again in front of me. So I'm guessing he was just trying to start a fight or something, or get me upset, which happened. I got upset.
Okay.
So,
What kind of car was it?
I believe it was a Chevy.
And do you remember the model?
I don't remember the model exactly.
How many occupants were in it?
There were two occupants in that car. It was an unmarked car, by the way.
And how were they dressed?
The two occupants were dressed like regular individuals.
Okay. And okay, we're at the point where they stop and you stop. What happens next?
So, after honking, he pulled over to the right, and I started passing him, and I stopped. I was upset, and I rolled down my window and yelled at him, just give him a piece of my mind. Then he yelled back at me, and then we both got out of our cars. The driver got out of his car, and I got out of my car, and we started advancing towards to the rear of both our cars, and we started getting into a shouting match.
Was the shouting match in English?
Yes.
Do you speak any other languages besides English?
No.
Okay. And did this shouting match escalate into a physical altercation?
Yes.
And what happened?
I told him that he's a lousy driver, and I'm tired of those kind of lousy drivers in the city of Chicago. Then he decided to attack me by punching me in the face. And after he punched me in the face, I was even more upset, so I retaliated to defend myself, because after punching me, he continued to advance. So I retaliated, and we started getting into a wrestling fight.
Okay. Did you have any weapons on you at the?
None at all.
Okay. And what happened with this wrestling fight? How did the fight end, or?
Eventually we got to the ground. I was on the ground on my back. He was on top of me. He kneed me once on my stomach. And then finally, I didn't know this until he announced it, that he's a police officer. Once I found out he's a police officer, I immediately complied, and I put my hands on the ground and waited for the next thing for him to tell me what to do.
Okay. All right. So at the point that you had the shouting match with him, at the point that you saw the car, you did not know they were police officers?
I didn't know they were police officers because they weren't in uniform.
Okay.
The car wasn't marked.
Okay.
Until the driver told me he's a police officer.
Okay. And then what happened next after you were down on your knees?
He got off of me, and then I started to get up slowly, and then I felt a kick on my back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned around. It was I guess his partner, the driver's partner, and I looked back and I said, why did you kick me? And then I passed out.
And that's all you remember?
That's all I remember.
Okay, I want to show you something. Do you recognize this knife that I have in front of me?
I know what kind of knife that is, yes.
What kind of knife is it?
It's a jackknife?
Is it your knife?
No.
Do people use these type of knives for construction, for carpentry?
No, we use a different kind of knife. It's a tool knife where it has a blade, smaller blade. That's like a 6-inch blade right there.
You've never seen this knife before?
No, I've not.
All right. No further questions. Thank you.